I refused to share my inheritance with my sisters because they excluded me for years.
That's your money. Don't let anyone touch it.
For context, I, 24 female, am the product of an affair. My father was married when I was born, and his marriage fell apart because of it. My dad eventually divorced his now ex-wife and his 3 kids, my half-siblings, 32 female, 30 male, and 28 male, have always resented me for it.
That's so messed up. I understand that they're probably children at the time, but like, OP's a baby. OP was just born.
Yeah. By the way, this comes from Single Hope 1009, and if you want to submit your own stories, just go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I understand. What happened between our parents was messy and destroyed their happy family, but I was just a baby and they've punished me for it my whole life. Growing up, they excluded me from everything. They didn't want me around, made cruel comments when I was, and acted like I didn't exist unless they were making me feel unwelcome. The worst part was when my mom passed away when I was 19. Oh no. While I was mourning my mother's death, they openly celebrated. I found out that they made jokes about how the trash took itself out.
How callous. Jesus.
And threw a party less than a month after the funeral to celebrate it.
That is like so, like they need to go to therapy.
Oh my goodness. That broke me, and I've been in no contact with them for years over it. Our shared grandmother wasn't much better. She wasn't outright cruel to me, but she clearly favored my half-siblings. They spent vacations and summers with her while she barely acknowledged me. She also made it known on more than one occasion that she wanted her jewelry to go to my oldest half-sister, 32 female, when she passed away, as the oldest female grandchild in the family, since she never had any daughters of her own. It was well established to everyone that knew her that this was her intention. However, she didn't leave a notarized will, so legally her estate went to my dad as her only child. Interesting. To my shock, my dad gave the entire jewelry collection to me. He said he regretted how I'd been treated by the family and wanted me to have something meaningful. It was the first time he had ever done something to truly acknowledge me, and I was floored. Now, my half-siblings are furious, especially my oldest half-sister. She is demanding I give her some of the jewelry, claiming that since she was closer to our grandmother and she had always intended for her, the sister, to have it, it's unfair that I kept it all. She even said I wasn't really part of the family and has been calling me selfish and accusing me of stealing what was rightfully hers. But I refused. I told her that after years of being treated like garbage, I'm not giving up the one thing my dad has ever done to acknowledge me. She accused me of being bitter and petty, saying I'm using this to punish them for things that happened years ago. I'll admit, part of me feels like I'm finally getting some compensation for their horrible treatment of me, but the other part of me wonders if I'm being petty or cruel by keeping it all when the others were so much closer to her. So, am I the a-hole? Edit to add due to some people making assumptions about my mother. She did not know my father was married originally. They married after my father's divorce because at the time my mother could not support the two of us by herself, and being an unmarried pregnant woman was a major cultural taboo for her. My father spent a majority of his time home when he actually bothered to come at all, trying to make it up to his children and my half-siblings when it was his time with custody. As far as I'm aware, my mother never treated them poorly. They tended to ignore her, and she did the same when they were around our house. And there are some comments, but what do we think? Is OP the a-hole?
I don't think so. Like, is it petty? Sure. But also, like, when people are awful to you, what did, like, the other kids expect? Taking it beyond is OP's choice petty or not, what did the other half-siblings expect was going to happen when they treated OP terribly her whole life? And then she has this opportunity to be like, well, I'm not giving you any of this money because you guys...
Yeah, it's kind of like, at this point, like, might as well be petty. It's like, sure, I guess, to be the bigger person or whatever, or like to do the objective right thing, it would be to give the stuff. But like, at the end of the day, if these people have been terrible to you your whole life and then celebrated your mom's passing so openly and so thoroughly and you're no contact with them.
Also someone who didn't even know that the husband was in a marriage. Like, she didn't even know.
And like, the dad is clearly to blame here.
It's like, if you want to go attack someone, go attack your dad. He's the one who gave it to me. Why are you coming after me?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if all of this stuff is happening and you clearly don't have any sort of positive relationship with these people and don't ever care to or don't plan to, and you're already cutting them off, like, might as well just be like, yeah, Screw you guys. I'm keeping it.
And also, yes, it might be a petty decision, but it's also like a decision of like OP said, this is the one thing that I got from my dad. This is one acknowledgement I've had of his wrongdoing and of how I've been treated and all of that stuff. So it's somewhat symbolic.
There is an update. So 4 days later. First, I want to thank everyone for the responses, advice, and support. I never expected this post to gain so much attention, and it's been overwhelming, but also incredibly validating to know that so many of you understand where I'm coming from. After reading through the comments and reflecting on everything, I decided to stand firm in my decision to keep the jewelry. Yay! This is the first meaningful gesture my dad has ever made towards me, and I'm not going to give it up, especially to people who have done nothing but make me feel like an outsider my entire life. For greater clarification, the jewelry also represents a greater apology to me. No one had ever apologized for the treatment I faced throughout my entire childhood, even when I chose to cut them off. Not for the constant name calling, not for the actual slurs they would regularly call me, not for the unwanted comments of my weight and how I was a pig, just like my mother. None of it.
I'm actually wondering, based off of that like comment slurs, if OP is not white and this family is white, and that's contributed to a lot of this kind of vitriol and stuff directed towards OP. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but like the slurs. In which case, like, even more so, I wouldn't want to give these people anything.
Before, this is the only apology I've ever received, even tangentially, relating to my childhood, and yes, I'm very aware of how bitter I sound here. That said, I don't want to completely close the door on reconciliation, so I reached out to my dad to discuss everything. I asked him why he gave the jewelry to me and what he thought about the backlash from my half-siblings. He admitted that he regrets how he handled things during my childhood and feels that he prioritized the other kids at my expense. Giving me the jewelry was his way of trying to make amends, even if it's late. I also told him about how my half-siblings were treating me now and the things they had said about my mom in the past. He was upset and said that he would speak to them about their current behavior, though it wasn't my intention and I doubt it will make much of a difference.
But it absolutely is his responsibility. I mean, he's trying to do a nice thing, quote unquote, but in doing that, it's opening OP up to even more hate. So it's his responsibility if he's going to make this decision to also follow up and make sure that she's not getting more backlash from the family members.
Absolutely. I mean, he's like the only one that kind of can. Even if it won't work, it's like worth a shot. As for my half-siblings, the situation has only escalated. My oldest half-sister, 32 female, sent a long message accusing me of being vindictive and selfish, still claiming that I'm taking the jewelry out of spite, which I suppose is partially true. She tried to guilt trip me again by bringing up how close she was to our grandmother and how much she wanted these specific pieces to remember her by. I didn't respond, but I've saved the messages in case things get worse. Good idea. Unexpectedly, my middle half-brother, 30 male, reached out privately. He admitted he was wrong for how he treated me in the past and apologized. He said that he doesn't care about the jewelry and just wants to move forward. I told him I appreciated his apology, but I need time to process everything before I can even consider having a relationship with him. That's a great thing.
Yeah, I am like a little bit worried though. But hopefully it's just being nice.
Hopefully. I am still no contact with my oldest half-sister and youngest half-brother. At this point, I don't see that changing. To those wondering about the jewelry itself, I've decided to have some of the pieces appraised and restored. I plan to wear a few of them on special occasions and keep the rest stored safely. They hold sentimental value to me now, not because of my grandmother, but because they represent a step towards my dad finally seeing me as a part of the family, even if it's imperfect and overdue. That said, after speaking with my middle half-brother, I've come to understand most of my half-sister's anger and attacks come from a place of grief. As such, I plan to give her my grandmother's favorite pair of earrings.
That is much nicer than you need to be. But yeah, props to you.
Yeah. She wore them constantly, and while I doubt my sister will have any gratitude towards me, I'm sure she'll appreciate the gesture nonetheless. And you know what gesture I would appreciate always is you going to your favorite podcast app, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, searching up OK Storytime and finding more episodes with stories just like this one. It means so much. But there is a little bit more, but what do we think about these possible solutions right now?
I honestly think OP is being very nice. The fact that she's willing to like give this specific piece, saying like, you know what, fine, I don't care if you thank me or not, but I'm gonna give it to you, is making steps towards having a better relationship with one of her half siblings. I think this is all the right moves.
I agree. I do think it's a classy move to at least give like, you know, the one pair of earrings, but I'm keeping the rest of it. That's a good way to go about it. But there is a little bit more. Thanks again for all the support. This whole situation has been messy, but I feel more confident in my decision now. If anything else significant happens, I'll update again. And Edit to add, the comments have made me realize that I've probably been giving my sister too much benefit of the doubt. While I do want to return the earrings to her, I think I'll offer to let her buy them back instead. Ooh, that's cool.
I like that.
I like that too. It's definitely like even more petty, but I like it. Though for the people concerned that letting her take them may incite her to sue me for the rest, I'll see how soon I can speak to a lawyer for a consultation. And that is the end of that story.
I would say probably the only reason that I would probably sell them is if there was some sort of legal thing that she could do to try and take the rest of them. Like that you could get away with if it was just selling. Otherwise, I probably would keep it to like just giving that one earring or something. You don't have to do anything, really. Seems like we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind like giving some sort of thing, being like, okay, pick one. You're allowed one thing. That's it. I get everything else. If some sort of fight comes out and she's still being petty and you're like, all right, fine. If you want it, give me $100.
Fine, if you want it so bad, hand over the money. But that is the end of that story.